welcome everyone to this week's webinar. And we hope that you had a fantastic start to your day or evening, depending on where you're tuning in from in the world. And my name is Jesper Palmborg, and today I will be your moderator. And today we will have a very, very interesting panel featuring claims technologies and fraud detection, where we will see where the industry today and how it's today is dealing with fraudulent matters efficiently, some potential pitfalls with the developing technologies, and of course what we can expect in the near future. What really is the current state in the insurance industry, and is everyone really using AI to some extent in fraud detection?
Well, thank you for the question. Very broad question. I would say AI is broadly used. I don't think everybody is using it, but at least for the Generali group, is quite broadly used. We are present in more than 50 countries, and the size and the maturity of our companies are very scattered between, let's say, very mature and just beginners. So it was quite a composite picture. We do use AI. I would say is probably the first use case that has been implemented in most of the countries for several reasons. The first one is that, of course, detecting fraud is a key priority for every single insurance company. It's good for the company and it's good for the good customers. So it's a perfect example of win-win scenario. It is one of the topics that is complex enough that takes a great advantage from I would say before talking about advanced analytics, I would say analytics per se. So it's one of the topics that takes great advantage from the wise usage of data. And so what we see is that you usually start with some kind of deterministic models, which is not really AI, but it starts with business rules, and you start implementing what we should never forget, that there is a great input and importance of the human perception. So understanding what is fraud and what is not starts from the perception of the claims handler, the special investigators, and so on. So first thing is, of course, applying rules, and then you can enhance these, let's say, deterministic models, adding some statistics. Then, of course, you can move to a more, let's say, complex approach, including artificial neural networks, behaviorals, external data, and combining all this together, and maybe also tackle the area of link analysis, which is a very important area for fraud detection. I will stop here, so I will leave the word to my colleagues and hear their point of view.
Thank you for that, and allow you to pass that on to Ralph instantly. Well, you go ahead.
Yeah, thanks very much. And probably what Alessandra said about the Generali group, I can echo on. For the Zurich group, obviously there is a lot of tools in general and AI applied for fraud detection. If I look in the markets in general, in EMEA, I can still see a lot of companies, working with fairly static rules engines for fraud detection, and sometimes, working and developing into more dynamic rules engines and connecting that to more than just the actual claims handling system. So there's still a lot of basic solutions or low-tech solutions around, if you want. But I think everybody is clear that they should develop in this field, because fraud and people that commit fraud is developing as well, and you need to cater for that. Obviously, once you can, go into more advanced solutions like AI, and combine those insights with the claims data, customer behavior, and also product and customer history, and maybe even connect public data into this will become a lot more valuable, and ideally, if you do that real time, you also cater for the fact that many of our cases that we have in Switzerland are resolved within a few minutes, right? So you need to do fraud detection in a very short time frame to detect the right stuff. So for Zurich Switzerland in general, maybe I just outlined a couple of things that we use, because we do have a couple of very, analytical algorithms that go throughout the whole claims handling process. We have built ourselves a tool based on machine learning, deep learning, that is, analyzing behavioral stuff, behavioral facts out of a claim, but also the actual just generic data that we can pull out of documents, photos, and so on, to enhance the claims handling process as such. And obviously, this tool also helps us in detecting fraud, also detecting dishonesty. I'll later elaborate what the difference is between those two. But I think once you can use those tools in an overall context, you get much deeper insight, and you can generate a lot more intelligence out of that. And natural language processing and lots of these recognition tools will, added by analytics, help you to get a lot better outcomes. And I think that is really important. It is still a matter of good interaction, though. I think you can have really good AI to detect fraud, but at the end, you still need to have skilled, experienced claims handlers with a really good gut feel that can also detect when people are telling them, strange stories, and that can also act once they get a fraud alert.
Thank you. And finally, Brad, what's your angle on this one?
Yeah, so I'm going to reinforce a little bit of what's been said already, but I want to do it from the perspective of a solution provider. But to specifically answer the question, I would suggest that there are many that are using AI today. There are many that aren't. But one of the key things there from a technology standpoint is a lot of solution providers are going to tell you that they're providing you a solution that is AI driven. And I'm even going to throw in one other term that I just heard, which is it also uses machine learning. And the reality is you have to be able to dig deeper to find out if that's actually accurate, because a lot of people want to use the buzzwords of that in this industry, but the models that they're using are not necessarily truly AI or machine learning. And the point was just made as well that a lot of times some of these technologies are really just rules driven, and rules driven is not a technology that has learning capabilities and becomes more powerful over time. Because what we know as a solutions provider is that a true AI and machine learning model, the data that drives it is the key. And we know that the data that you put into a machine learning model is very disparate across many systems and even in formats. So there has to be some mechanism to properly ingest all the data across the systems that are in play in the InsurTech world. And how do I normalize that data and then have a continuous feedback loop to use that in a meaningful manner as it relates to fraud, as it relates to a number of issues, or even just the KPIs that you want to run your business on. So our perspective would be, challenge the technologies that you're looking at to say, when we say, are they using AI to detect fraud? What are they really doing? How is the data being ingested? How is it being used? Because that's the key to whether you really have a true AI and machine learning model that's helping drive the detection of something like fraud.